We welcome you to Phillies Postgame Live, presented by our friends at Cure Auto Insurance. 6-3, the Phillies go down to the Atlanta Braves. They have effectively lost the season series to the Braves. It stands at 8-10. Even with a Phillies win tomorrow, it can't happen. So, but as Ruben will tell you, they played them pretty tough this season. Not that and a bunch of beans will get you much. Ruben Amaro Jr. on Michael Barkan. In a moment, the greatest third baseman ever to play, Michael Jack Schmidt. Here's the thing. If this were to happen even last week, you lose one, or certainly in May or June, you say, okay, it's one loss to the great Atlanta Braves, who are the reigning champs. This is tough. Now, 11 games left. You took the first two, and we really wanted to see them do it tonight.
Yeah, you really wanted to see them continue to have that kind of momentum. Unfortunately, Bailey Falter just didn't have it tonight. And, the Atlanta Braves are really good against left-handed starting pitching. They've swung the bats well against them all year long, as we talked about in the open. Unfortunately, Bailey Falter could not command that fastball the way he wanted to, and he just gave up way too many hits early in the game and kind of knocked the Phillies out early.
Tell me a little bit about body language. I had the opportunity to sit there behind home plate today. I was with my kids watching the first several innings of the game, and the body language from Bailey Falter was kind of like, these guys are I can't do it.
One of the things I really like about Bailey is that, he's pretty gutsy. He doesn't let things affect him. Unfortunately, he left some pitches out over the plate. They got a lot of base hits early in the game, made him work very hard, and ended up giving up 10 hits. That's a lot of knocks in 3 1/3 or so. So, the Atlanta Braves, they answered. And, this is a good ball club. Unfortunately, for the Phillies, they got to battle back and try to win tomorrow. If they could take 3 out of 4 of them, it'll be huge.
All right, talk a little bit about Rob Thomson, who we'll hear from coming up. And, Bailey Falter pitches into the 4th inning. Again, seems to be reasonable. He was struggling. Finally, Thomson felt the need to come out. Caleb Cothran came out first to talk to him. Would you have thought about taking him out earlier than that, given that he let up 6 runs?
Yeah, I think they're starting to trust him a little bit more, that he can work through some things, and I think that's what Rob Thomson was trying to do, and also trying to save his bullpen a little bit so he didn't have to get into it too early. Some would say that they maybe waited a little bit too long to take him out of the game, but you know what? This guy's thrown the ball pretty well, and he's earned the right to try to work through some tough outings, and unfortunately didn't work out today.
All right, let's check in with the great Michael Jack Schmidt. Called the game with Tom McCarthy and John Kruk in the booth there. He is on the crossover. Michael Jack, Great to see you as always. When you look at this one thing came out of this. Bryce Harper got on track, at least we think so. Got his first home run, just his 3rd since coming back off the injured list back at the end of August. What'd you make of his performance at the plate?
Well, that's probably the best thing that came out of this game. Ruben hit the nail on the head earlier in the crossover when he said Bryce, had a couple of good at-bats. He moved the ball the other way, and I think that's so important for Bryce to be the hitter that he, has been at the end of last year and early this year before he got hit. He needs to use the opposite field, especially with 2 strikes. With 11 games left in the season, more important than an at-bat, in the first 2 weeks of the season. A little bit more pressure on it for sure. But that's part of the game, Ruben. I'm sure you've been in it. You want to be in that situation as a hitter, a pitcher, a defensive player, where it means more. And it'll mean a lot more once they get into the postseason. So I think it's good going down the stretch now that they're sort of getting the postseason feel in these last 10 games. And tomorrow's a big game. Take 3 out of 4 from Atlanta. Atlanta, I guess, now is really close to being tied with the Mets. And so it's a big game for the Phillies. They're going on a 9-game road trip. Come out of the homestand with some momentum is very important.
Schmidt, you've seen some of these young players play. How impressed have you been with the way they've handled things? The Nicky Matons of the world, Veerlings, et cetera. Stott, even Bohm as a young player.
Well, Ruben, I've been away for about 6 weeks, and I have been watching a lot of the Phillies on TV. And let's start with Bohm. He's turned into potentially a great player. He's going to be playing third base for a long time. Stott as well. Maton his ability to now to play the outfield on a regular basis. Veerling, I love him as a hitter. I think he's got a great approach. He didn't get in the game today, but a great approach. He'll be probably part of the Phillies program for a while for sure in the future. Who am I leaving out?
Maybe
Marsh,
Bryson Stott, I guess.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I don't want to forget him. Called him a Chase Utley wannabe early. I think he's got a lot of those kind of characteristics and traits. He loves the game. He'll practice till he dies. I mean, he's just a great young player. He'll be playing shortstop, I think, here for a long time. So we got a great nucleus of young players here going into the future.
Mike, lastly, when you look at 11 games remaining, you look at a record of 83 and 68. They're on pace for 89 wins. I'm not jinxing anything to say this team's going to the playoffs, even though the magic number is still at 9. Milwaukee is losing right now early on to Cincinnati, should go to 8. So what should the Phillies' approach be, other than to try to win games, of course, between now and the end of the regular season?
Only the game they're playing right now. Tomorrow's game right tomorrow. That's the only thing that matters. Play it like the final game of the World Series. You got to have wins. Tomorrow's game is a big momentum game, as I said earlier. The next game on the road, I believe, is with the Cubs after the day off. Same thing. Go to Chicago, play them one at a time. You can't say we got to take 2 and get out of here, or we got to win 1. You got to win the game you're playing now, and that's the approach. The only at bats the one you're having right now. Get the win any way you can get it. 1-0, 4-3, big win. Like the other night. Just win. Just win, baby. Isn't that what they say, Michael?
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't hurt to take care of the Cubs like you took care of them in 1980, right? 4 straight before you went to Montreal. I know. Yeah, heck with the one at a time.
That, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
one at a time,
I remember
Michael.
that.
I'm sorry,
I absolutely remember that.
One at a time.
Ruben remembers that.
I know you do. That's right. All right, my friend. We'll check you tomorrow.
Thanks
so much. Good being with you.
The great Mike Schmidt joining us from the booth. And yeah, one at a time, to be sure, as the Phillies chase October, presented by our friends at your Tri-State Toyota dealers. And here's how it looks going into the evening's games. The Braves way up. They're the Phillies and the Padres locked at 83 and 68. The Brewers still in the balance, and they are 2 games back, but they're losing to Cincinnati early. The Phillies' magic number to clinch right now is still 9. They failed to win, but if the Brewers lose, again, it goes to 8, Ruben.
Yeah, and you don't want to rely on another club losing. You want to back into it. You want to be playing good baseball. And, the Atlanta Braves, they're playing for something, too, because the Mets lost today. They picked up a game on the Mets today. So that division's not over. And I know that they want to try to win that division. So tomorrow's a big game for both clubs, and hopefully the Phillies come out banging.
That's a great point. You're getting the best of the Braves. I mean, I know Acuna Jr. was out, etc. I'm just saying, as you just said, they're going for everything they can. They want that division.
Yeah, the fact that Acuna and Olsen are not, Acuna's not playing and Olsen's not playing all that well. He's not swinging the bat. That's big for the Phillies. But they are trying to win every one of these ball games. They want to win this division.
Always say falter, no falter. Unfortunately, he does today. 3 2/3, 10 hits, 6 runs. They had 8 hits after 3 innings and into the 4th inning. That's when he got the boot, unfortunately. 6 earned runs, 2 home runs, Ruben. And we were talking in the break. They've seen him before, right? They just saw him last week.
Yeah, and this is a veteran club. These are not, these aren't kiddies. The Atlanta Braves, they know how to handle things. They made some adjustments on Bailey today, and they knew they were going to get some fastballs. They got them. They used the middle of the field. They kind of dinked him a couple of base hits up the middle, and then they hit a couple of home runs. Michael Harris and Contreras, 2 young, very good young players. They've got a ton of them. They've got Grissom as well. This is a good young ball club, but it also with some veterans who know how to play. But Bailey Falter, he's been a savior for them. I mean, he's pitched extremely well, and I think that's the reason again why Rob Thomson stayed with him for a while. Sometimes you got to give credit to the hitters, and they did a good job of staying in the middle and kind of beating Bailey Falter at his own game, handling that fastball that he usually throws very effectively.
Going back to July of last season, the Phillies are 22 and 13 in games Bailey Falter has appeared in. Pretty good. And here's Rob Thomson postgame.
Yeah, it was foul.
Yeah, it was. Did you think it had a chance off the bat or anything?
I thought so, but it really started to hook. But yeah, we fought back, and that's what these guys do. And we got off to a slow start. Bailey, he's been so good for us, and it was just a rough outing for him. He was just a little bit off, and they found some holes, and he made some bad pitches, I guess, that he normally doesn't make. But I was really happy with the bullpen. Brogdon now back-to-back days where he's pitched really well, and Sir Anthony was outstanding, and D-Rob was really good. So they kept us in the game, and we fought back and had a tying run to the plate. So came up a little bit short. So now we got to dust ourselves off and come back and win the series tomorrow.
It looked like they were kind of, like he threw a lot of fastballs, Falter. It looked like some of them were fastball counts. And they seemed to be on it. Was there anything he could do to get them off it, even in the future?
Well, he's spin rate guy, extension guy. When he's not up above the barrel, it's hittable or down, So, yeah, it's kind of in that happy zone a lot. So, but he's pitched very well for us, and I'm really happy with him.
How encouraged were you to see Harper have a few?
He had great at bats today. I mean, he looked like he was balanced and on time, and barreling balls up, and back to an aggressive swing, keeping his head still. I thought his at bats were completely different today than they have been the last couple.
You mentioned Harper, the bullpen guys. Obviously a tough loss, but still could win a series tomorrow, still in the driver's seat for the playoffs. So this is kind of a flush it and keep perspective.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. They keep fighting, still playing great defense and run the base as well, and we're playing good baseball. We just came up a little bit short today.
Talked before the game about Sir Anthony. Did it look like he ironed out, whatever sort of mechanical flaw he...
Yeah, it looks like it. Velocity was still there. The slider was a lot better. It was around the zone. He threw a couple of really good ones, and he used it. And, yeah, I thought he was really good.
Rob Thomson on this team's loss. They still have a chance to win the series. They've lost the season series to the Atlanta Braves, but no matter, as the Phillies still are in great position to make their first playoff run in 11 years.